Hey kids, History Channel guy here. So a few weeks ago in my Defense of Jackson video, I discussed how Jacksonian democracy led to universal white male suffrage for almost all of the United States. But what if I were to tell you that one of the states were lagging behind in eliminating the criteria for all white men to vote? And what if I were to tell you that state was Rhode Island? Yeah, I was surprised too. In today's quick history episode, I'm going to tell you about the Dorr Rebellion. Like many former British colonies, Rhode Island established their very own colonial charter, which would serve basically as the colony's constitution. In 1663, Rhode Island wrote their colonial charter, and within it stated that to be an eligible voter, you must be A, male, and B, a landowner. Though these are not awesome policies, they were pretty aligned with the standard election rules for the time. Moreover, due to Rhode Island's demographics, much of the population was farmers, and therefore owned some plots of land. Yet as the years went on, Rhode Island's government made stricter voting laws. By the 1840s, Rhode Island required someone to own $134 worth of land, or they had to own land which generated at least $7 worth of rent to vote. Though this doesn't sound like much for today's standards, considering a box on the side of the road costs at least $100,000, but only if you pay in cash. To 19th century standards, this was insane. Also, due to the Industrial Revolution, many of these farmers who had previously were eligible to vote moved to the cities to find work, meaning they no longer held the land requirement. In 1829, it was estimated that 60% of Rhode Island's eligible voting population could not vote. Of those, most affected were Irish Americans, who were primarily located in urban locations. Advocates of universal white male suffrage quickly argued that the colonial charter was signed by the British monarch, which therefore made it unconstitutional. These advocates made several attempts to replace the colonial charter, yet all the attempts failed. Though there were some excuses, the fact is, property owners simply did not want to give up their power, and without a strong push, no reforms would be made. By 1841, basically every state in the Union had universal white male suffrage, which made Rhode Island look even worse. In 1841, a group of suffrage supporters led by Thomas W. Dorr, see, Dorr Rebellion, made an attempt to change the charter from within. Dorr and his supporters hosted what is now known as the People's Convention, where they drafted a new constitution which allowed every white man to vote within 1 year of residence in Rhode Island. Dorr originally wanted to give voting rights to African Americans, but due to the pressure from the working Irish, he got rid of the clause in the Constitution. Nevertheless, the People's Convention literally established a rival constitution to the Rhode Island Charter. What could possibly go wrong, right? Well, it turns out a lot. Both groups simultaneously voted on different constitutions with different constitutional changes. This might not be so bad if literally the groups didn't hold elections at the same time as each other, which led for both Dorr and a man named Samuel Ward King to be elected governor of Rhode Island. King, wanting to be governor because he literally won under the actual rules of government, declared martial law in Rhode Island. Despite his pleas to President Tyler, federal troops were not sent to Rhode Island to aid King in reestablishing the peace. Simultaneously, most state militiamen were Irish, meaning they aligned themselves with Dorr. The Dorrites, as they were called, led an unsuccessful attack on the state arsenal in Providence. Ironically, many of the men defending the state's arsenal were African Americans who previously sided with Dorr before he eliminated their voting rights in his constitution. After the battle, Dorr retreated to New York, only to come back a year later to be defeated and captured a second time. Though Dorr was arrested of treason and found guilty, he only served 1 year of prison. And many of his desires came true. In 1842, Governor King called the state assembly to create a new constitution, and by 1843, Rhode Island adopted a universal white male suffrage voting policy, which allowed anyone, as long as they could pay a poll tax of $1, to vote. Also, this poll tax would go towards public school funding, so that's pretty cool at the time. Though a poll tax isn't awesome, and there were still some property requirements for foreign born citizens and Native Americans, this new constitution greatly improved the voting rights for the citizens of Rhode Island. So, this just shows you, kids, if you want to create something, you try to overthrow your government and start an armed rebellion. It worked for Rhode Island, and it will work at home. Thank you for watching. Remember to like and subscribe for more Small Wars and Quick History content. If you'd like, you could sub, and I've noticed a lot of you are watching but haven't subbed, so I would appreciate it if you did. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.